Okay, so in this Dart tutorial, our objective is to look at Lambda functions in Dart, and this is very, very important in terms of Dart development. And we should note that it's simply a function, but functions in Dart is actually object object. Okay, but what is so special about this? This is actually an anonymous function in other programming languages, but here we can even have functions being assigned to variable, and that is really, really useful. Okay, so let's look at the normal function. We know that is what we call the normal function. We normally know that is normal function. Normal function can have what? The name of the function, that is void. For example, if we say void void maybe function name adding numbers. Okay, that's the function name, and adding numbers here, that is the name of the function. Then we have the open and close round bracket, and that can be used as the parameters for the function. And then we open the function like this. Okay, so inside the function, the normal function, we can as well have the parameter a and then parameter b. Okay, so int a and then int b. Yes, and then in here we can have a normal var, and then sum of what? A and b. Sum of a and b, just like this, plus what? Plus b. Very simple. Okay, then we actually print out the sum. Print out the sum. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is actually a normal function, we know. Good, but let's look at how lambda looks like in that. Okay, so in the main, I want to define my first type of lambda. Okay, so let me say defining first first lambda. Defining first lambda. Okay, okay. Let's say first type of lambda. First type of lambda. Okay, good. That is normally term. Lambda simply means a function. A function. Okay. Um, the like this. Lambda is simply a function, but most of the time is what? An anonymous function. Okay, that can be assigned to a variable because it's being treated as an object. Okay, so the first type of lambda, we can have functions starting with this, with the parameter like this, int a, as we did down there, int a, and then we can have the int b here, int b. Okay, good. And we have the parentheses here, and then this can have the same this the same logic here, and this is apparently a function in that. Good, but the difference here is that this this can be assigned to a variable. Okay, so for example, if you want to assign this to a variable, what you do is to call the keyword function and then the name of the variable. So we will say adding two numbers. Okay, adding, this is the variable, adding two numbers. Okay, adding two numbers. Good. So this is a variable, and so we use the equal to sign. You see how it works. The function adding two numbers, and then it's assigned to what? It's assigned to the what? The function here. But here we need to terminate this. You get it? You know, this function, we did not terminate it, but here we actually terminate the function here. Okay, so we have function 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 adding two what? Two numbers, and it's assigned to this logic. Perfect. Okay, so let's see. We can easily, parse this and then return this in another what? In another print statement, because this is actually a variable. Okay, and then let's watch here. We can also have this function, another function like this. Like this is multiply. Let's say this is a multiply function. Okay, multiply function. Okay, so I term it like this, multiply function, and then this is equal to what? Equal to a parameter. So we have only one parameter here, so let's say int what? Int number. Okay, then int number, then we're gonna have normal parentheses, and then here is the function that is gonna return a result, that is a number times 3. Okay, then here we have to terminate. Good. So you see, we are actually assigning what? Assigning a variable to a function, and we have a different form. Here is we are actually assigning this function to, that is returning a value to a what? A variable. Good. So that is examples of what? Lambda. Okay, so let's look at calling a lambda function. But before that, let me also show you another way of defining the lambda function before we look at the calling. Okay, so here we can simply use, for example, this. We can simply use the fat arrow to also call this. So let's say second type of lambda functions. Perfect. So here we can use the fat arrow. So we need to simply convert this to using the fat arrow. So instead of having all this, we can simply call the print statement here, this one. This one here, we are going to ignore all this here, but we need to use what we call the fat arrow. Okay, good. This one, oh sorry, equal to, and then greater than. Then we have the print statement, so we're gonna print the a plus b direct here, and then we ignore the rest. I just clear this. Perfect. So we have another type of lambda function. This is using the fat arrow. Okay, so this is still what? A variable. All right, so let's watch here. Now we're gonna look at another form also using the fat arrow, like the second one, this one, using the fat arrow for this. So what are we going to take out from this one? We're gonna easily use the number times here, the number times, then we ignore the return using the fat arrow. Okay, so I clear this and then I use the fat arrow here. Very simple, just like this, just like this. Okay, so we have the int number and this, then I terminate this one. Perfect. All right, so now let's go to the lambda function calls. Okay, how to call lambda function. So calling lambda what? Functions. Perfect. So calling lambda functions, we easily have to call the function just like calling using a variable, and then passing values to the variable, just like a parameter, right? So we can say like how we were doing simple classes, but this we are passing a what? A parameter to a variable. So for example, if I want to call this one, this for example, what would I do? I'll only take the what? The variable, and then since it's actually a parameter here, two parameter here, I need to pass in a value to be able to what? Perform the action. So let's say 2 and then what? No, 5 and then what? 8. Perfect. So this is the function call for the lambda, the first one. Let's look at the second one. The second one, we can simply call this. Okay, where is the second one? Yeah, this is the second one. The second one is very easy. To do that, you call this here, the variable, and then so here we're gonna have the print statement right here. Then we're gonna have this variable here, like this. So we're printing the variable name, and then we are assigning a value to the variable name here in a round bracket here, open and close round bracket. So let's say we're passing 5 here. Good. So you see how we call the second one. The first one, we only call the variable name that the function it's stored in or assigned to this function, and then we have the parentheses, and then we pass in the parameters. Then the second one is this one. We only put this variable and then the parentheses inside the print statement, but here there's no equal to, then we pass in the value, right? You've seen it, very easy, huh? Okay, so let's just run this and let's see what we're gonna get on the screen. Print a plus b, print a plus b. What is that? Yes, what's wrong with that? Okay, let me cross check the code again. So we have function adding 2 is equal to a, b, and then print a plus b. Yeah, that's okay. Then let me see which error again. We say function adding, oh, previous declaration of adding two numbers. Function adding two numbers is equal to Let me check that. So isn't used. Adding two numbers. Okay, let me go through the whole code again. Okay, if let's say variable, let's go to sum and then print sum. Okay, print sum. Perfect. Then we come to var multiply function, and then we have the int value, and then we return the number times 3. Okay, and then we terminate this. Okay, second is defining the second type. We have function, and then adding two numbers. Function. Okay. This one, adding two numbers. Let's keep this adding what? Adding numbers. Yeah, adding numbers here. Okay, so I'm also gonna call this. So we have these two functions. Yes, so this is adding numbers, and this I have to also change this one, this particular one. Okay, needs to have a different what variable name. Okay, because they are two separate what functions. So I remove the two, and then here I make it fun instead of funk. Okay, good. Then we're gonna call this one too here. So basically the same. This is the function call for the second one. Okay, let me rename this so that we'll understand this. So function calling lambda function 2. Okay, calling lambda function 1 set. Let me do it set because it's 2, and then 2 set as well. Okay, so here there is no 2 here, and then here, but I've passed the value. The values are the same. Let me change this value, and then change that value, and let me change this value as well. Okay, good. So I think we are good to go now. Okay, this is good. We are good to go. Okay, so this is how we actually implement Lambda in what in that programming, and this is very useful, as you can see. So you see all of them have been what displayed here correctly. So I quickly go over. We say lambda functions are simply what looks like an anonymous function, and these are treated as what objects in that. Every function is an object in that. Yeah, basically everything in that is object. Good. Then this is how we define the anonymous function or the lambda function. We define the function without a function name. So as you can see here, we have the parameter and then the logic. Then we now assign it to a variable, but we use the function and then the variable name. We also have a second way of defining the function. Here we have one parameter and then the logic, and then the variable is returning a var character. Okay, good. Then the second type is using the fat arrow, the same function variable name, and then we have the parameters, and then we have the print word statement, just like the second one as well. Okay, using the fat arrow, and then we calling the lambda function. We simply call this like pretty much like a passing in parameters to variables. So you have the variable, and then we have the two parameters being passed in the round brackets, just like this, and then like this. But if you know this, you are very conversant with this type of function where you have the function name, and then you are returning a type, and then the parameters, and then the logic. But this is a bit flexible for you to assign a whole function to a variable. I think that is a really good way of coding Lambda in that, and I think it's a good one. Okay, so this is something you have to practice to get your hands on. Okay, so anytime you watch the videos, we recommend you to also practice alongside in what is happening in the video for you to actually remember whatever you watch. Okay, so we would like you to subscribe to our channel and also click on the notification bell. Peace. I'm out.